You can build a jet farm in Fallout 4 to give you an edge over your enemies, generate a nice amount of XP, or create a passive source of caps. And in this video I will show you how to build your own jet farm. Hi, I'm Mo and I'm trapped in Fallout. Before building the farm, let's quickly talk about how you would go about crafting jet and what are the real benefits of doing this. So to create jet, you need to go into your chemistry station, and then you need to go into drugs, and then to jet. To make jet, you only need two things. You need fertilizer and you need plastic. You can easily purchase plastic from pretty much any vendor all across the Commonwealth, but somewhere you really probably want to go would be Diamond City, where there will be plenty of plastic you can purchase right over there. For example, you can visit Diamond City Surplus, which is in the market of Diamond City, and speak to Percy right over here, and then go into barter. And when you go into barter, if you then have a look at the junk items, at the very bottom should be a shipment of plastic that you can just purchase. Now, if you take a note, you can actually purchase, in this case, 25 shipment of plastic for just 173. That really isn't a large amount of caps for the amount of plastic that you will get. So this is just one example of where you can purchase some plastic for almost next to nothing. And the second item you will need, or rather the second resource you will need, is fertilizer. Now, the question is, how do we get your hands on fertilizer? Well, before going into that, quickly, the benefit of doing such a thing. If we go and create a jet farm, the benefit of having a jet farm, first of all, is that every time you make some jet, you will actually get some XP. Secondly, you can sell jet for a considerably good amount of caps, given how much it weighs. So if we go into our inventory really quickly and just look at how much jet actually weighs, which isn't really a lot, it's just 0.1, you can get a good amount of caps for the amount of jet that you carry around. And lastly, probably a given, jet is actually one of the best chems to use in a fight, given that it slows down your pretty much surroundings, giving you an edge over your enemies. And lastly, perhaps one of the biggest benefits of creating a jet farm is that, unlike say other farms such as a purified water farm, let's just assume we built a purified water all around here in this settlement. We would have to travel to this settlement, take out all the purified water from the workshop, and then sell it. Whereas if we have a jet farm, as long as you have plastic and fertilizer in any of your settlements and they are all linked with supply lines, you can create jet from any settlement anywhere. So this actually has an advantage over a water farm, for the simple fact that you don't have to be isolated to a particular settlement to do this. So with this all said, we've already looked at how to get plastic. Now let's take a look at how you would get your hands on fertilizer. So to get your hands on fertilizer, there are effectively two ways. The first is to go and purchase fertilizer, but that can be rather expensive. Or the second, and perhaps the more important way, is to actually build cages to attract Brahmin. Now you can do this by building large cages, and you can just build them straight wherever you want. So I'm just going to place, well, I'm going to try and place 4 Brahmin cages. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to just connect them all up with power cables. And next, I now need to power them up with a power generator. So build a power generator. And again, it doesn't have to meet any requirements or anything like that. So I'm just going to build a small generator, and I'm just going to hook this up to one of these Brahmin cages. And now if I have a look, all of these Brahmin cages should now be connected, and they should all have power going through them. Now, the way you actually attract Brahmin, well, you've actually done the legwork already. What you now need to do is you can do one of two things. You can just passively play the game and come back. And when you come back, the doors of these cages should be closed, in which case you've captured a Brahmin. Or you can just build a bed. So we'll do that right here. And you can just go to sleep. And what you can do is just sleep in this bed for say 24 hours and repeat that until all 4 cages are closed. Now I have built 4 cages. You don't have to build 4. You can just build 1 if you like. But just to try and recruit as many as I can in one go, that's what I've done. So with that, I'm going to now go ahead and sleep until all 4 cages have been populated with Brahmin. I have slept about 4 days in game, and after sleeping for 4 days straight in game, all 4 cages have now been populated. Now if I open all 4 of these cages, there should be Brahmin inside each of them, and there will be 1 Brahmin inside each of these cages. Now what we can do is, in fact, before opening the cages, there is one thing you can do. You can put down some feeders for your Brahmin. So you can go into resources, miscellaneous, and then you can put down some Brahmin feed troughs, and what these will do is they will just try and keep your Brahmin close to a particular location. So if you don't put them down, you don't have to put them down. If you don't put them down, then your Brahmin will basically wander all around the settlement, which may or may not be something you want. But if you put down feeders, and ideally don't put them next to walls, put them somewhere in the center, simply because if you put them in the wall, they can actually glitch through the wall and go straight out. So if you say want to build something like an enclosed area, then put your feeders somewhere in the middle-ish, and each feeder will support up to 2 Brahmin. So let's just put them down, and then to actually open the cages, what you need to do is sever the power connection. So I can just store this, and as a result of doing this, the cages should all open and the Brahmins should all come out. Now that we've got Brahmin, what we can do is go back into the chemistry station and take a look at how much fertilizer we have. So at the moment we have 1077 fertilizer. What you can now do is, given that you've actually got some Brahmin, you can go back to your bed and go to sleep again. And after, say, passing about 24 hours in game, your Brahmin may generate some fertilizer. Alternatively, you don't have to go to sleep. You can just passively play the game, go and complete some quest, go build a settlement somewhere else, just play the game normally and come back, and over time your Brahmin will generate fertilizer for you. So what I'm going to do is quickly go to sleep again for just a couple of days to see if it's affected the amount of fertilizer that I have. Okay, so I've just sort of slept for about 2 days. I'm going to see if I've generated some additional fertilizer. So previously I had, I think, 1077. Now I've got 1102. So just about roughly 25 more, I think, if my math is correct. So I've generated about 25 more fertilizer. So in this case, I think I basically got a bit lucky. You may not see 25. You may see something more along the lines of somewhere between 5 to 10-ish, or perhaps lucky than me and more. But the idea is you can now have fertilizer passively generate in the background, and if you want some plastic, you can just go and purchase some. So now what I'm going to do is actually craft some jet, and in the background notice that I am getting some XP. Now if you have perks like Idiot Savant, or you've taken something like Mentas, you will get significantly more XP for doing this. Now this could be a nice way of leveling up also in the background. So what I want to do is, I've crafted a few, I don't know how many exactly, but I've definitely crafted a few. I'm just going to close this, and what we're going to do is quickly go to Diamond City and sell that. But before I do that, I want to quickly talk about these Brahmin cages also. Now if I just reconnect this power generator with these Brahmin cages, they'll have power again, but Brahmin cages have been known to not work after the first attempt. So if you decide that you want to recruit more Brahmin, and in this case 4 isn't enough, what you will have to do is totally sever the power connections and connect these cages to different generators, and that should help you get around that issue. So with that said, now let's quickly go back to Diamond City and see how much cap we can make with the few jet that we just generated. So we are now back at Diamond City, and just by coincidence, it happens to be nighttime again. We're going to go to the same vendor, Percy, and we're going to access his barter option, and let's see how much cap we can actually purchase, or rather generate. So we generated about 48 jet. So if I was to sell every single one of them, I would generate about 1056 cap. So you can sort of see just how much caps you can get by passively doing this in the background. Again, another thing is this weighs almost next to nothing, and you can get a good amount of jet for this. The other benefit is, if you decide not to actually sell this, you're still getting XP, and if you don't sell it, you can instead use these in battle, where again, you would get a considerable amount of value from using these. And lastly, when using jet in battle, make sure you have some ranks in the chem resistant perk as well as some ranks in the chemist perk, as this will help make your jet last significantly longer and also reduce the likelihood of you actually getting addicted to it. In this video, I showed you how to craft an almost unlimited amount of jet passively, which in turn can generate XP and caps and help in battle. But why not also create your own water farm, another strategy that I mentioned in this video. A water farm in Fallout 4 has the potential to make you very wealthy, so why not click on the video you see on the screen now and I will show you how to get an unlimited amount of caps in Fallout 4. Click on the video you see on the screen now to find out more.